all these actor guys, and she would get.
I want to know who this is.
I can't tell you. She's a nice lady. She just looked. She was basically doing she was doing the casting couch in reverse.
I think she's going to go out there and continue playing the fake Me Too card. Last year at the Time 100, she got up there and gave this big speech about how her mother was allegedly a victim, and it was clearly an attempt to like glom on, you know, like. That's basically the same thing as it happening to me.
Let me tell you what I would do if even if I wasn't a comic, if I saw someone do that, I'd be like, what in the do you think you're accomplishing with?
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly are putting their reputations on the line as they take a deep dive into what many believe is the hidden truth surrounding Blake Lively. Determined to separate fact from fiction, they're examining the controversy, asking tough questions, and uncovering details that have fueled widespread speculation and public debate.
When I saw Blake, I say hi. She didn't reply to me. I think when she saw me, it was like, I'm nothing, you know, so she's not going to acknowledge me, you know, or even trying to look at me or anything.
One of the most impactful things Megyn Kelly has been doing on her show is giving a platform to crew members who previously worked with Blake Lively to share their experiences firsthand. Among the most notable voices is an assistant director named Barbara, who said she left the industry after a difficult experience while working on a simple favor. According to Barbara, what happened wasn't simply a misunderstanding. She stated, "I want to avoid attention around this, but I will say she was cruel to many. I know I cried all the way home many nights because you try so hard to please someone who is never satisfied and constantly puts you down." She added that she never expected those experiences to eventually come back into the public spotlight.
Blake Lively's a star of this movie. This woman was the 4th AD. She has no power. She's low on the totem pole. She's working her way up in Hollywood, and Blake Lively treats her like shit. The mark of one's character is how you can treat someone who can do nothing for you.
Megyn Kelly has argued that these first-hand accounts suggest the situation involving Justin was not an isolated incident. According to her commentary, Blake Lively was able to avoid sustained public scrutiny for years, in part because of the influence and popularity of her husband, Ryan Reynolds. And that brings us to another major moment: Joe Rogan's sharp criticism of what he sees as Hollywood's double standards. Alongside his guest Brian, Rogan broadened the discussion beyond Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, arguing that the entertainment industry often presents itself as holding the moral high ground while failing to consistently address alleged misconduct within its own ranks.
Hollywood tends to do that which is popular, that which is going to make them liked, rather than something that's morally or ethically consistent.
Sure.
That's what I mean, right?
Well, we've talked about this before, that it all comes down to the whole process of being chosen to do things.
Yeah.
Whether being chosen to direct or chosen to act or chosen. Everybody's constantly working to be chosen.
Joe Rogan argued that Hollywood often applies different standards to different people. He contrasted the treatment of Justin Baldoni with the industry's past support for filmmaker Roman Polanski, noting that Polanski received public backing from some prominent figures even after serious criminal allegations. Rogan questioned how Hollywood can claim the moral high ground while, in his view, showing inconsistent responses to misconduct. He concluded that, because of these perceived double standards, the industry's moral authority lacks credibility, and argued that attempts to damage Justin Baldoni's career should be viewed through that broader context rather than accepted at face value.
What's going on right now does not concern me nearly as much as it does a lot of other people. Because I feel like people are already reacting to it and already going, what in the you know, and the ship is already starting to right itself.
Joe Rogan recently shared a broader perspective on his podcast about the personalities and motivations that can develop within the entertainment industry, and many online viewers have connected his comments to the ongoing discussion surrounding Blake Lively. Rogan suggested that some public figures become deeply driven by the pursuit of fame and public attention, arguing that this desire can shape their behavior both on and off the screen. Supporters of this interpretation believe it offers one possible lens through which to view the intense focus on social media, high-profile appearances, and the strong public reactions that sometimes follow shifts in public opinion.
Most of the time, the reason why we want to become an actor is because they didn't get enough attention. That's a lot of what causes it, especially if you have like this weird sort of non-specific desire for fame. It's not like you're a really good character actress, you know, you're a Faye Dunaway or something like that. You're just really good at, you love the craft of creating a character. No, there's a lot of them that just want to be famous.
Joe Rogan argued that some people who feel deeply insecure may respond aggressively when they believe their status or reputation is being threatened, using their influence, legal resources, or powerful connections to protect themselves. Commentators have applied that broader argument to the ongoing debate surrounding Blake Lively, while also questioning the role of influential figures within her circle. At the same time, several recent public moments have fueled further online speculation. One involved Blake being shown on camera during a major sporting event while speaking with Ryan Reynolds, and another centered on widespread discussion of her absence from Taylor Swift's wedding. Online commentators have interpreted these events in various ways, with some suggesting they reflect changing public dynamics. However, any conclusions about Blake Lively's personal relationships, motivations, or emotional state remains speculative and have not been confirmed.
Blake Lively just loves to appear in huge events, just trying to pretend like nothing really happened.
Megyn Kelly publicly stated that she was among the journalists whose reporting became the subject of legal action from Blake Lively's legal team. Kelly argued that, while Blake Lively was publicly presenting her case as a pursuit of justice, her attorneys were also seeking access to confidential reporting materials from members of the media. Kelly cited this as an example of what she believes raises broader concerns about press freedom and the relationship between legal disputes and independent journalism.
We can now reveal that we were among those targeted by Blake Lively. Yes, she actually tried to get the confidential and proprietary materials my team and I used for any and all stories about her.
According to Megyn Kelly's account, Blake Lively's legal team sought materials related to her reporting on the controversy, including source information, internal communications, and documents connected to the reporting process. Kelly also said the legal filings alleged that she may have been compensated by Justin Baldoni or his legal team in connection with coverage that was critical of Blake Lively, and sought records that could support or refute that claim. Kelly has strongly denied those allegations, arguing that they were unsupported and reflected an attempt to challenge the credibility of her reporting rather than evidence of any coordinated campaign.
She actually thinks I needed to get paid by Baldoni's team to say negative things about her. Newsflash, Blake. I came to those conclusions totally organically. Don't give away your power, sweetheart. It was you. It was all you who made me unable to stand you.
Megyn Kelly sharply criticized the allegation, arguing that it was implausible given her long career in journalism and the fact that she operates her own independent media company. She rejected any suggestion that her coverage was influenced by secret payments or coordinated with Justin Baldoni or his legal team, describing the accusation as baseless. On her program, Kelly said the claim reflected what she viewed as an effort to undermine critical reporting rather than address the issues being discussed, and she concluded by publicly reaffirming her commitment to independent journalism and standing by her reporting.
I am a member of the press, and I will never back down to the likes of Blake Lively.
Joe Rogan's comments have drawn attention because of the size and influence of his audience, leading some observers to speculate about how they could affect public perceptions of Ryan Reynolds. Supporters of this view argue that Rogan's discussion may encourage some fans to look beyond Reynolds' on-screen persona and pay closer attention to the broader controversy involving Blake Lively, including publicly discussed allegations, reported text messages, and other claims circulating online. Whether this ultimately changes audience support or affects Reynolds' future projects remains uncertain, as there is no confirmed evidence that the controversy will have a lasting impact on his career or on decisions by major studios such as Disney.
You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruin your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they've Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this. They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise. The whole thing's crazy.
Joe Rogan's discussion of the controversy has resonated with a broad audience, including many people who also follow Ryan Reynolds' work, prompting renewed debate online. On his podcast, Rogan voiced support for Justin Baldoni and criticized Blake Lively's handling of the dispute, drawing comparisons to the public reaction during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. He argued that public opinion, celebrity status, and media narratives should not be treated as proof of guilt or innocence, emphasizing that evidence should ultimately guide conclusions. Rogan also pointed to the release of text messages by Baldoni's team as an example of why, in his view, publicly available evidence should be examined before reaching definitive judgments.
He posted the receipts. He's like, remember our text exchange? Bah, bah,
How about she
bah,
told
bah.
him to come into the dressing room while she was feeding? And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was feeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipt.
Supporters of Justin Baldoni have argued that the text message inviting him into a trailer is significant because they believe it should be considered alongside the broader body of evidence rather than in isolation. They contend that publicly available documents allow people to review the facts and reach their own conclusions. Megyn Kelly has also criticized Blake Lively's legal strategy, including her reported request for approximately $8 million in attorney's fees, arguing that it reflects an effort to strengthen her position in the dispute. Blake Lively, however, maintains her legal claims, and the broader allegations between the parties remain contested. Ultimately, the significance of any individual piece of evidence or legal filing will be determined through the legal process rather than public commentary alone.
In order to get at their billable hours at 8 million, they would need to have 5,000 to 6,000 staff hours across those firms in order to get to $8 million. So like that alone just proves how full of BS they are, because the math ain't math.
Megyn Kelly criticized Blake Lively's reported request for approximately $8 million in attorney's fees, arguing that it was an attempt to recover the legal costs associated with defending against Justin Baldoni's defamation counterclaim. Kelly questioned whether such a request was reasonable, especially while noting that Baldoni has continued to defend himself against the allegations without receiving comparable compensation. In Kelly's view, the fee request appeared to be an effort to frame a legal setback as a public relations victory. Blake Lively, however, maintains her legal position, and any request for attorney's fees remains subject to the court's review and applicable legal standards.
She wants $8 million. So once again, to the end, she looks like a money-grubbing, you know what.
Joe Rogan argued that Hollywood's culture can sometimes reward influence, image, and industry connections over merit, suggesting that this dynamic helps certain high-profile figures maintain their status while making it harder for others to receive fair treatment. Applying that broader criticism to the ongoing Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni controversy, Rogan questioned whether the entertainment industry consistently supports talent and professionalism over reputation and public image. He also criticized the audition process, describing it as a system that can prioritize marketability and insider relationships as much as acting ability, a point that many listeners have debated online.
She would go on auditions if she would get rejected, she would want to like a wild animal. It's like she wanted something to just she wanted to just validation. Scream too. She wanted to, yeah. It was like the stress of it all was so crazy. She wanted validation. She wanted to blow off steam.
Joe Rogan argued that the audition process can take a significant toll on performers' confidence, describing it as an environment built around constant judgment, rejection, and the need for approval. In his view, that cycle can encourage some people to become overly focused on status, validation, and public image rather than the craft itself. Rogan suggested that this culture may reward ambition and self-promotion as much as talent, creating an industry where the pursuit of fame can sometimes overshadow professionalism and authenticity.
The audition process is the craziest thing ever. It devastates people's self-esteem because you just get rejected all the time.
Joe Rogan argued that Hollywood's audition culture can reward people who are exceptionally driven to gain recognition and approval, suggesting that the system may sometimes elevate ambition and image over collaboration. Applying that broader critique to the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni controversy, some commentators have argued that the dispute reflects the kinds of workplace dynamics Rogan has discussed in the past. They also point to the release of text messages and other publicly filed materials, which Megyn Kelly has highlighted in her coverage, as evidence they believe raises questions about Blake Lively's public narrative. However, The parties continue to dispute the underlying allegations, and the significance of the evidence remains a matter of ongoing legal and public debate.
She's been caught lying. I mean, that's really the thing. Like, the thing about the feeding is a great example. Like, he walked into my trailer and me feeding, and then his side produced the text message of her being like, yeah, you can come to my trailer. FYI, I'm feeding, but it's fine.
Supporters of Justin Baldoni argue that the released text messages present a different interpretation of the dispute than Blake Lively's allegations, contending that they depict a conflict over creative control and professional authority rather than the narrative Blake has described. Megyn Kelly has similarly argued that the communications reveal a different dynamic between the two parties and has pointed to the messages as evidence she believes deserves close public scrutiny. Blake Lively, however, disputes that interpretation, and the significance of the text messages remains contested as the broader legal dispute continues.
We went through each one of them, and what you actually see is Justin Baldoni was in a defensive crouch because this bully was all over him. She had wrested control of his movie from him. She had made him go downstairs in the basement for the premiere of his movie. She had been threatening him. He understood full well that his career was probably done.
One of the most widely discussed text messages in the dispute is the one in which Blake Lively referred to herself as the Mother of Dragons, a reference that has been interpreted in different ways by both supporters and critics. Some commentators, including Megyn Kelly, argue that the exchange reflects Blake's awareness of her influence and industry connections, while others view it as informal or playful language taken out of context. As the legal battle has progressed through filings, discovery, depositions, and other court proceedings, both sides have continued to present competing interpretations of the evidence. The litigation remains ongoing, and neither the public debate nor the legal process has produced a final determination on the underlying claims.
The problem for Blake Lively, in my opinion, is that she does not improve upon acquaintance. And so the more time we got to spend with Blake Lively, the less we liked her.
Joe Rogan has argued that social media has made it much harder for celebrities to carefully control their public image, suggesting that online platforms often reveal a disconnect between how public figures see themselves and how audiences perceive them. Some commentators have applied that observation to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, pointing to their Instagram presence as an example of how even carefully curated content can shape public opinion in unexpected ways. Rogan's broader point was that, in the age of social media, audiences increasingly form their own judgments based on what celebrities choose to share, rather than relying solely on traditional public relations or media narratives.
There's some people, man, that get real self-indulgent and self-righteous with that social media. It's exposed a lot of celebrities for being real dorks.
Critics of Blake Lively have argued that her public appearances and promotional interviews have shaped negative perceptions over time rather than improving them. Some commentators pointed to the promotional campaign for It Ends With Us, suggesting that her tone in certain interviews felt at odds with the film's subject matter. Megyn Kelly has also interpreted the widely discussed Mother of Dragons text message as reflecting what she views as an inflated sense of influence and authority. Blake Lively, however, disputes the broader criticisms directed at her, and conclusions about her personality or intentions remain matters of opinion rather than established fact.